So what I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about around cloud. What actually is the definition of cloud? Not Dropbox. And what I mean is the definition of cloud computing. Why are people going to the cloud? Why are people not going to the cloud? And it's pretty cloudy out there. There's all manner of different clouds. What the hell do they all mean? I'm going to talk about storage futures, server futures, and NV. And I'm going to come on to NV. NV is another sort of term for Intel and Micron's 3D crosspoint technology.
Say that again.
3D crosspoint technology, which I'm going to go into, but that is the biggest thing in hardware for the last 20 years, full stop. So, National Institute of Standards, I'm sure you're aware of them, said for something to be classed as computing cloud, it has 5 pillars. Has to have these to be classed as computing cloud. Any ideas?
Water.
Of some others.
So we'll start off with one. On demand, self-service. Yeah, you get it when you want it, whenever you want it. Yeah?
Okay.
Any idea of the next one?
Non-geographical.
That's actually right for all network access. Get to it from wherever you want to get to it from. Any idea of the next ones? Resource pooling. Yeah. You're not actually segmented to one server. You can pool all the resources to and give a service. Anyone any idea what I mean by elasticity?
Expandable.
Scale.
Yeah.
Scale on demand.
Scale and demand, but to go in and out again. That's the important thing. Very easy for somebody to go, a cloud company will always say to you, oh yeah, you want 20 servers extra, great! Yeah, they'll have them up really quickly for you. But the ability to be elastic, to have elasticity is around being able to shrink back down again, when and how you actually need it. Measured service. What we mean by that is the ability to bill. To be able to measure who's doing what, when they're doing it, and to be able to bill them for it. Yeah? So that is the definition, full stop, of cloud computing. Any comments on that? We'll say them until afterwards. Yeah? So why cloud? Why are people going to cloud? So this lady is the CIO of a company I'm sure you've heard of, General Electric. Yeah? What she's talking about there, she says, yeah, cost is important. But what is it all about in cloud? Speed and innovation. The ability to do things quickly when we need to do them. We spoke about before about how when you had a single server per application, how long did it take anybody then to go and get the damn thing and then commission it and set it up? Months? Weeks? Even when you get one ordered, never mind actually provision it. Yeah? What she's talking about there in a company like General Electric's kind of size is they can go, yeah, really, really quickly. So why not? Yeah, why not? Data control, governance, security. Why are not people going to Azure and Amazon Web Services? And by the way, who thinks which one of these two is the biggest? Amazon. Story about Amazon. Yeah. So how did the world's biggest bookseller become the world's biggest web service company? Any ideas?
Their own logistics. Quietly, was it?
Hmm?
Their own logistics. Like they used it and so on.
They had a barrel load of kit left over because if you sell books for a living, you're very peak and trophy. Yeah? But they're a web-based company. So what used to happen is that they have really big peaks, but then have a big trough, and they'd have a shitload of kits out there doing nothing. Yeah? But there were no Amazon Web Services back then. They are Amazon. So what did they do? They went, well, hang on, there's kit here. Why don't we sell it to somebody else? You know, as a service, as a hosting. And that's where it started. Were and are the first, and that's why they're the biggest. So, why not? What's the principal reason?
Trust.
Governance probably comes into that. Cost. It's a bloody fortune. You've all mentioned before about Azure. Yeah? And the first thing you said about him, about, how much he actually costs. And how much does it cost? It costs a lot. Anybody see down there? That is 20 virtual machines. Yeah, this is straight from Azure site. 2 cores, 3.5 gig of RAM, 135 gig disk. Yeah, the cost of that is £2,000 a month from Azure, right?
That's transit.
Yeah. So you join in, you sign up to Azure, you say, yeah, that sounds good to me, boss. Yeah, I'll do that. Has anybody ever sweated their assets and gone, you know what? I think we'll get another year out of these PCs, or we'll get another year out of this. Yeah?
Yeah.
You've tried having that conversation with them. Yeah? Oh, I want Mr. Microsoft. No. Yeah, you are going to get through to Mr. Microsoft as well, yeah? Once you sign up, once you've gone down that route, you are going to be paid, and if they put the price up, what are you going to do? Move to Amazon? Anybody have any idea how you get the data off Azure and send it to Amazon? I haven't. So that's our principal reason.
Yeah, but it's estimated as well, because it says at the bottom price of estimate's not accurate.
Yeah.
That's like the fact that a sequel costs £3.72.
So that's on there, but that's only for 20 VMs, yeah? And you're not going to be able to speak to Azure and go, any chance of a discount? A bit skint at the moment, budgets are tight. Now, believe me, you've no idea how many times I get that request from the guys over there from Virtue, for your guys' kit, yeah? Quite a lot. But what do? We're really nice guys at, Fujitsu, and we try and help. You think you're going to get much from these guys?
Blood from a stone.
Yeah, blood from a stone, yeah? That is the fundamental reason, yeah? Fujitsu believe, right, that on a rough estimate, this is rough estimate, yeah? We reckon we can do a VM for anywhere between £10 to £15 a month for a standard VM, yeah? So if you compare that to that kind of value there, then you're talking a lot of money. So that's why people are not going to the cloud, because you can't sweat. Once you're in there, you can't change anything. It's cloudy. What different types of clouds do we have? We've got public cloud. We all know what public cloud is. Amazon, Azure, K5? No, didn't think so. K5 is Fujitsu's cloud platform that we've invested God knows how much money in. Loads of money in the data centres, obviously none in the marketing, which is very typical of Fujitsu. Private cloud. Private cloud is what the Microsoft guy Paul was talking about, the Azure stack. They are a long way from it yet. Why? Why do you think they're still a long way off it?
Because they want to make more money for Azure.
No, quite.
Nobody's paying to buy it.
There is that element of it. Think back to those 5 pillars. Yeah? The whole point of having a cloud service and being a cloud service provider is that you can do all that. Yeah? Whose kit is it? Who's managing it? Whose money are you taking? There's so many problems that they've got at the moment about Azure Cloud. And they've tried doing it before. People like Microsoft and VMware have been talking about on-premise cloud and cloud infrastructure on site for quite a while now, but they've never been able to deliver it. Never. Hybrid. Now, hybrid is more around what we believe the market is going to go to. And that's the kind of places that Gartner are talking about, and that's exactly what Paul was more talking about, whereas You may have servers there, but not actually running cloud infrastructure. They have the ability to burst and connect in to Azure. Fujitsu Primegy servers do have that technology actually now. They have built-in software that allow you to connect up to AWS, K5 and Azure. So you can have your normal servers, you need to burst out, you can connect. Yeah? And that's what we reckon is the market is going to go towards much more, is around hybrid cloud. Going and looking at the costs, story about Netflix, for example. Netflix servers, what Netflix did, they created 20% of all their users. So 20% of their users are constant users. They do not put them in the cloud because they're really, really expensive. So they said, no, we're going to keep these local to us, yeah, but then we're going to be able to burst into the cloud as and when people come online. That's what's going to happen. I'm not exactly sure what community cloud is, to be fair. I've actually done some of this. It's just another buzzword, I think.
It's afraid of.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. So, some of you guys will have seen this before, and this is around sort of storage futures and about flash technology. Yeah. So I'm going to skip through this relatively quickly because I think a lot of you have seen this already. True?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some people will say yes, some people say no. You've got all this extra technology coming around with helium-based drives and that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking 60 terabyte, 80 terabyte disks. SSD versus hard disk. Enterprise, client, hard drives. The only real differences between them is one thing. If you look across all these, all different technologies, what's the difference? Nothing.
Oh, I nearly got that one.
Nearly. The difference is only around, you may have heard this talked about, is DWPD, and the amount of disk writes per day. It basically means, because when you write to an SSD disk, what you're doing is you're degrading the chips. The more writes you do, it will fail. You're not going to be unlucky, it will just fail. The more you write to it, the more it will fail. So the better class of disk can accept more writes. It's that simple. So when people talk about, and it's all about write. So if you saw an SSD disk and it said, I'm read intensive, what would that make you think about it?
What, on the label or?
Yeah, it just said, this is so salesman come in, that's a read intensive disk, that. What would that make you think?
Faster reading.
Correct. Exactly. It's absolute bollocks. It's nonsense. All it means is it doesn't have more chips in it that you can write to. It's actually a rubbisher disk. Someone comes in and says, it's write intensive. What do you think that means?
It's probably got extra memory in there. So
Correct.
when the bad blocks go,
Correct.
blocks go bad, it can accommodate, it can give you a greater number.
And mixed
Yeah,
use.
right.
Yeah. And mixed use.
Standard.
Yeah. Okay. On Fujitsu storage, when we put our SSDs in, we will guarantee them for 5 years. Yeah. It's included. You'll just get 5 years of it.
Just ask a serious question then. So how much, so you've got, say you've got a capacity of 400 gigs. Have you actually got 800 in there?
Possibly, yeah. Probably not as much as that, but you have extra on there to compensate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got your code to work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Funny enough, as you can see, you can actually see the enterprise one is a heck of a lot busier
Yeah.
than the standard one. It's actually got a lot more chip on it. So, quickly. Now we're going to go through Intel's Crosspoint. This is what's going to revolutionise a hardware. We haven't seen anything really different since 1989. NAND is flash memory. We all use it in our USB sticks, we all put it in our cameras, that kind of thing. I'm going to show you a video.
things could happen hundreds of times faster if the wait went away. Maybe you'd have lunch in Paris, see a show on Broadway, have dinner in Beijing, and still be back in your own bed by 11. What if your storage device were that much faster? You could unleash the power of your processor instead of working at a fraction of its potential like today. Eliminating that bottleneck requires better storage memory that is fast, inexpensive, and non-volatile, so your data doesn't go away when your power does. DRAM memory is great because it's very fast, but it's also very expensive and it's volatile. And unlike many silicon components, DRAM density isn't doubling every 2 years, so it's hitting a wall. On the other hand, NAND memory found in today's SSDs is both inexpensive and non-volatile. And while it's lightning fast compared to other storage technologies, up to 1,300 times faster than hard drives, it's still about 1,500 times slower than DRAM. But get ready, we're about to shatter today's rules in a very big way, thanks to some breakthrough engineering we've been working on. Soon, for the first time ever, we'll be able to equip computers with memory that's fast and inexpensive and non-volatile. Intel engineers have helped design a next-generation non-volatile memory called 3D XPoint, something many experts said was impossible. And this new technology isn't just twice as fast, or even 10 times faster than NAND. It's up to 1,000 times faster. So, how'd we do it? To make 3D XPoint inexpensive, we needed to pack lots of capacity into a tiny footprint. We started by slicing submicroscopic layers of materials into columns, each containing a memory cell and selector. Then, we connected those columns using an innovative cross-point structure consisting of perpendicular wires that enables memory cells to be individually addressed by selecting one wire on top and another at the bottom. We can stack these memory groups three-dimensionally to maximize density. And whereas DRAM requires a transistor at each memory cell to access or modify the cell, making DRAM big and expensive, each 3D XPoint memory cell can be written to or read by simply varying the voltage sent to its selector, completely eliminating the need for transistors. This simple, stackable, transistorless design enables 3D XPoint to pack up to 10 times more capacity than DRAM in the same space, greatly reducing cost. When it comes to memory performance, low latency is the key. Whereas NAND latency is measured in tens of microseconds, 3D XPoint technology's latency is measured in tens of nanoseconds, a tiny fraction of NAND's wait time. This makes 3D XPoint ideal for high-performance SSD storage, delivering up to 10 times the performance of NAND across a PCIe NVMe interface. Plus, 3D XPoint technology's lifespan is not significantly impacted by how many write cycles it can endure, which means it can simultaneously serve as a single, high-speed, high-capacity pool of system and storage memory. There you have it, a truly disruptive memory technology that's fast, inexpensive, and non-volatile. Get ready to unleash your processor's true potential and realize possibilities we thought were decades away. So be sure to stay tuned for upcoming announcements on 3D XPoint technology.
So, what we're saying there is, when I put up that thing about hard disk is dead, you could actually say SSD is dead. Because when that really starts hitting, and when NVE disk, or NVE, we don't really know what to call them, cards or whatever, which is basically RAM that you can stick into the PCI, yeah, and it's going to be cheap. That's the thing, it's going to be cheap, and these things are 1,000 times quicker than SSD.
When is that done? What's the time scale?
I'm going to come on to that a little bit. So there you go. The problem is it's got so many different names. There's non-volatile RAM, there's 3D XPoint. 3D XPoint is more around sort of the actual non-volatile memory. Octane is going to be around what they call PCIe NVMe, which is with the capability of being able to put non-volatile RAM as a card, like what you can do with SSD disks now, and actually just slot them in, yeah, and they'll go directly into the PCI bus and give you that kind of performance that you spoke there, what you're going to see massive data sizes. You're going to see 18 terabytes, 24 terabytes, 36 terabytes NV stuff that you can just have.
Why are you getting those great capacities then straight off the bat?
Because they're just growing out straight away, because it's cheap. Because when you see this, sorry, you see that? Yeah, exactly. You pack them on together like that. Yeah, that's where the 3D bit comes in.
Well, the IT should not do what he does and hold it back and step it gradually.
It will, of course it
Well,
will.
well, there's a bit about that I was going to bring further on, because basically our next server range, yeah, and also Windows Server 2016 harnesses NV. So part of storage spaces that I'm going to go into, this is where the war of storage is coming, where VMware and Microsoft are going to beat the living daylights out of the traditional storage vendors. So this slide shows us a little bit of where it sits. This is like the Richter scale, because you can see the powers, going up. It's the power of, yeah. And there you're seeing where Crosspoint actually sits. DRAM, but the only thing you're getting faster than this is actual cache. Yeah, the actual cache in the processor. And what I can't emphasise more than anything else is that it's going to be cheap. When these things normally first come out, the reason why DRAM is so expensive is because you can't build blocks on it. It goes linear across. Now what they're saying is you can build more onto it, and thus it'll be cheaper. As he said, and in that space of 1 gig of RAM, you can build much more and build out.
So the only way that can happen then is at the fabrication stage. It must be easier to make.
Yes, that's exactly it. So this is, and the other name for it, I think it must have been Intel's original sort of code name for it, is Apache Path. So there you'll see, where before, you used to, so this is based on obviously Skylake. So Skylake now, so Skylake processors were currently in Broadwell, so then you'll be going into Skylake. So what you're seeing now is, instead of seeing banks of memory across where you would just go, yeah, memory, you're now actually creating pools and choosing what you want that memory to be. You're almost looking at having 1.5 terabytes. Where's the I/O bit now? 1.5 actual terabytes of I/O, which would have normally been cache. If you think about that, how those huge increases in speed and performance are going to come through. The next actual generation of servers, which are due in the next so many months, yeah, in a 2 CPU format, will be able to hold 6 terabytes of RAM. But then also, you can then split that memory up and have that memory as storage, have that memory as I/O, have that memory for applications. It's up to you. The days of just putting memory in, gone.
So what you're saying now is effectively hard drives and memory are merging in many ways.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Now I haven't put it up here.
Have I got this right?
Really.
What you're saying is that you're going to use this instead of traditional memory, even though traditional memory is still faster than this.
But it's a lot cheaper.
Because it's cheaper.
Yes. But what you'll do is you'll be able to put you'll still see that. You see the DRAM as the cache. Yeah.
Right.
So you'll still have that. You'll still be able to put. But the days of you putting memory in just as memory. Now there'll be more of okay. And the software industry's got to catch up.
Virtualizing your memory effectively.
Yeah.
Just different uses for memory.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you want storage as well. You'd have it in one box, everything in one box.
Give that man a prize, because he's sort of got on to the next bit, which I'm about to go on to. But what does this mean to the market as a vendor and to you guys? Yeah. So this is the roadmap of what's going to happen. You'll see later on in 2017. Also, what you'll see is all this E5 and E7s and all that kind of all that kind of stuff gone. It'll be purely on Skylake. Yeah, it won't matter whether or not it's an E5, an E7, quad socket or whatever. It will exist as that basically, and that's due out back end of 2017. So this is our current portfolio. Right. So as you can see, we do small, extremely large. Yeah. What you're going to see is, I still think there'll obviously be a market for towers. Yeah. Blades, dead, gone. Nobody uses blades anymore for that. This kind of stuff possibly still exists because there's a heck of a lot of legacy stuff that goes into these kind of things that work on their code. But what you're going to see is this eventually, and I've got to say this eventually, not talking the next 6 to 9 months, I'm talking probably the next 2 to 3 years, will go. Because you can put everything in the box. And what's it going to go to? It's going to go to a single system. Now to you guys, that probably looks like a single 2U server. Yeah, it's not. 4 servers in that. So we'll run software-defined storage, 1 enclosure for 2 or 4 servers, or 1 server if you wanted
What
it.
do you define as a server?
It's a full
Is
server.
that just a new blade?
It is, but what it is, you don't need the connectivity to come out of it. So in the blade, you would have to have pass-throughs and all that kind of stuff. So that will enable you can just reach out and connect. There's no sort of concrete sort of you've got to do this. The reason why HP and ourselves used to give away blade chassis was primarily because we have you in a captured market. It was like a motorway services on the M6, you know, paying £1 for a loaf of, £1 for a piece of toast. Once we got you, once the vendor got you, they had you. That's why they give them away from that. But it's going to be expandable, 4 nodes, but you can put 18 disks in there. But bearing in mind, the next new ones of these are going to be able to put these non-volatile PCIEs in. Yeah, and if they're as cheap as what they're talking about, you're going to have an extraordinarily fast data center with huge amounts of data in a 2U format.
The power,
Most in a box, isn't it?
and the power to run that then will be significantly lower, do you think?
No,
2 watt batteries.
400 watts standard. It shares power. It shares power. It shares power. Look, you're looking at Skynet.
That's the word.
For that. So on that, we're going to just go into a lot of what do we mean. So what do you guys think software-defined storage is?
VMware.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the difference between software-defined storage and storage?
You can move software, so move it around.
What I understand as software-defined storage is primarily much more about it's the OS people. It's VMware, it's Microsoft, OpenStack, encroaching in to that market. So where it would be, if you're storage vendors, you'd go NetApp, you'd go EMC, you'd go Nimble, you'd go Fujitsu Eternus. That's what you talk about. Yeah? But what's happening now is that what Microsoft are saying and VMware are saying with storage spaces and vSAN, they're saying, do it all in the box. But primarily you'd be like, yeah, but I need these SSDs and I need this performance and it chews up. Now we're saying, well, actually, you're coming to sort of this kind of technology, reverting into that. Yeah, you're talking full converged systems, but were previously, when Phil mentioned it previously, probably wasn't ready. But in the next few years, yeah, or so, you're going to see this all converge into, because you're going to get these super fast NVMe, non-volatile memory, and huge quantities of it, huge actual systems. So
So would you recommend not upgrading a server this year then? Hold
of
on.
course not.
That's true, because we were looking at replacing the host, so...
This is all vaporware.
What I would say about this, yeah, is that this is technology that's out now, yeah. And I'm going to go into a little bit more later about all flash and SSD and stuff, because there's elements of, you know what, yeah, it sounds great, but unless you're Cambridge University trying to find a cure for cancer, yeah, good's good enough. Did you know what I mean? Yeah. I know we've all got people talk about this data explosion and all that kind of stuff, yeah, but at what point? We all know hardware has always gone faster than software. Yeah, always. It's now just taking an extra leap. Now, like I said, unless you are doing some serious research computing, or you're into F1, or you're doing all this kind of stuff, this kind of stuff is like, well, yeah, Well, what I'm talking about now is that what you're seeing is a monumental leap. You're not just going to more colours, a bit quicker memory. This is a fundamental difference now. This is a real game changer as how people will look at actually building their systems.
Or if we're looking at upgrading, well, we'll soon, wherever Lee is, we can talk to him, about replacing our sands.
Yeah, want to come on to that?
In the next year. Would it be worth holding on if this is coming out? Or, I know you're saying no for servers, but SSDs are expensive, whereas if this is going to be a lot cheaper.
We don't know. What they compare it to, right, is the price of DRAM.
Right, okay.
That's what they mean by expensive.
Okay.
So if you wanted 4 terabytes of DRAM to run like that,
Yeah.
that's going to cost you £20,000, yeah. Where a 4 terabyte SSD can cost you £2,500, yeah. That's what they mean by that, yeah. You're getting similar DRAM kind of speeds, similar, yeah, but almost in between, yeah, for that. And there you go. These are the main benefits of it. You know, you guys, most of you guys run VMware, yeah. So if you have a storage guy, a storage salesperson comes in to say, I'm guessing one of the main questions you will always ask them is, how does your storage integrate with VMware? Would that be a fair point? Yeah. Is it good with VMware? Is it single pane, blah 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 blah? Yeah. Is there anything that's going to work better with VMware than VMware? No. Right? This is relative. Don't get me wrong. This is relatively expensive to do. You need a minimum of 4 servers to do it. You need a lot of flash. When people are asking that kind of thing, that's what they're going for. VMware and Microsoft are going after these guys. There is going to be a storage war coming. Yeah, and it's or storage war. I tried to make it like Star Wars, but I couldn't find the bloody thing, you know. So these guys are going to be like, if all you are selling is storage, if that's your total portfolio, and Microsoft and VMware are gunning for you, you're going to have a problem. These guys will still operate, but they're probably not going to be doing massive numbers like they have in the past, selling into large corporates and things like that.
Playing devil's advocate down, why is that a threat to them and not Fujitsu?
Because Fujitsu isn't purely a storage company. Because Fujitsu does have vSAN, storage spaces, we have Eternus, we have all flash. So we have a complete portfolio. Whereas if we can go to any of you guys and go, are you looking at a stretch cluster with storage spaces? So if Paul, if Microsoft came into Paul and said, we really want you to use storage spaces direct out of a Windows Server 2016, we can do that. We've got a product. Whereas if you're nimble, you don't.